Hello, I'm Papa, and this is Poppa Paints. And normally on this channel, I demonstrate how I paint a greeting card or some other kind of a painting. But I wanted to talk about something, so excuse me while I kind of express an opinion and give a little bit of an editorial, I guess you might say, commentary. The question is this: should schools stop offering courses in the arts? That's an interesting question. In the past few years, I have been learning about schools that were ending their arts programs, so I wanted to say a few things about this. When I say the arts, I am talking about more than painting, sculpting, drawing, and the things you normally associate with the word the arts. I'm including music, dancing, writing, fashion design, cooking, and anything else that requires human creativity. When I asked why schools are ending their arts programs, I asked Robin's brother, who's a teacher, and Robin's sister-in-law, who's also a teacher. They told me that a few things were adding to the decision to end arts programs. Some blamed politics, others blamed the budget, some blamed a lack of interest from the students themselves. And recently, some are even crediting artificial intelligence, AI. Crediting. That sounds as if there may be a notion that arts are no longer necessary skills for human beings because robots can do the job better. Well, this is what I want to address. First of all, let me say that human beings are creative beings. You are, I am, we all are. Being creative is part of our very experience and our existence. It's one of the traits that separates us from the animal kingdom. We're not teaching students to be beasts of burden. A horse can learn to pull a wagon. And once that skill is learned, it will never think of ways to pull that wagon differently, more efficiently, or even with improved finesse. As unbelievable as that sounds. No, they'll never change the way they were taught. If so, we might have horses studying the art of wagon pulling. But humans are different, and we need to be creative. We need to be innovative. We need to think outside the box. Even the sciences benefit from that core human quality of creativity. That horse-drawn carriage would have never evolved into the car if that wasn't true. Look around you. Every human-made thing you see started out as someone's creative impulse. That's pretty incredible. Everything. That is what art is. For as long as I can remember, schools have always acknowledged the relationship between the arts and the sciences. And in fact, that relationship has traditionally been encouraged and nurtured by our teachers. Leonardo da Vinci, he was an artist, but he also studied anatomy, engineering, aviation, astronomy, and other fields of science and technology. Other names that come to mind are Johann Audubon, a renowned ornithologist and artist. He studied birds. He painted beautiful pictures of them. George Washington Carver was a botanist, an inventor, a teacher, and he also explored the visual arts. Yes, He was an artist. And Maria Merian, the German naturalist, also an artist. She was one of the first to study insects as a science. And she also detailed those insects in her illustrations showing their life cycles. Teaching the arts is not simply a way to educate students to illustrate book covers or decorate our walls. Teaching the arts is a way of encouraging critical creativity. Teaching critical creativity is as important as teaching critical thinking. Both disciplines are learned over time, and both disciplines benefit from the guidance of a nurturing and skilled teacher. I think teaching is also an art form. But the end result of that relationship between teacher and student, when it comes to the arts, and when it comes to the relationship between the arts and the sciences, a better life for all of us is the result. A richer, more colorful world. A world of ever-changing clothing designs from our fashion artists. A world of endless food choices and flavors from our culinary artists. A world of soulful, fortifying music and songs from our musical artists. A world of free-flowing colors and landscapes that allow us to escape through the magical window of a painting. You know, I walked through the halls of a hospital recently, and the paintings on those walls all seemed like windows into a beautiful and welcoming place. That is the gift an artist gives to the world. While in that hospital, I visited a patient, and she was watching a movie, and that movie was clearly having a wonderful effect on her psyche. The movie made her want to get well and experience life in its fullest. That is the gift of talented writers, actors, filmmakers, composers, and musicians all working together to create that wonderful art form we call the movie. All artists contribute to the world around us. The art of dancing. It enriches us all by the almost supernatural marriage of sport and art. It is why we offer standing ovations after an amazing performance of dancers on a stage or skaters on the ice. And who hasn't been overwhelmed by the magnificent unspoken message as we look at the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor, or the unparalleled majesty of the Great Sphinx of Egypt? That was from a sculpture. Or even the more humble carvings in the headstones marking the final resting places of our loved ones. They were all created by human hands. They were all created by artists. So, if you are in a position to make a decision about teaching the arts, about continuing arts programs in our schools, about the importance of including art curriculums in our education budgets, please, please, please consider the importance of that decision. And if you are an artist, keep it up. Pursue every creative impulse fueling your next painting, your next musical composition, your next novel, your next choreography, your next sculpture, your next poem, your next film, your next menu, your next fashion, your next architectural innovation, your next automobile design, your next hairstyle. All of those things are created by artists. They're all a different art form, and they're all unique to the human experience. It happens in no other part of creation. So remember, we are not beasts of burden. We are not robots. Allow our teachers to do what they know how to do. They use that amazing gift that they possess, that gift of teaching, the gift of encouragement, the gift of guidance, the gift of acknowledging talent and giving direction, and the gift of knowing that each one of us is gifted in a different way. Taking away the arts from our students is a mistake. So in answer to the question about whether we should have arts in our schools, yes, we should have them in our schools. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this has made an impact on somebody out there. There's a comment section under this if you want to disagree with me, argue with me, debate me, or support what I've said. And thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye.